Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake, and I'm here with Lindsey Deluce and Kelsey McEwen. Welcome to CTV Your Morning, the podcast.
This week, we chat with one of the greatest curlers of all time, Jennifer Jones. She shares her life on and off the ice in a new memoir called Rockstar.
And we'll look at a new short film exploring the relationship between immigrant moms and their millennial daughters.
Thanks so much for joining us today. And a reminder, you can join us live every weekday, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern or 7 to 10 a.m. Atlantic on CTV CTV News Channel and on your CTV News app. This next movie is hitting all the right notes and making history as the most watched Netflix film ever.
You think we're just gonna let you steal our fans? You're gonna have to fight us for them.
Fighting for fans, not a problem for KPop Demon Hunters. It has 236 million of them and counting, making it the most watched movie of all time. It is also making history on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. And our next guest created it and co-directed it. Maggie Kang is the woman behind this massive global phenomenon. We are so thrilled to have you in the studio. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, first of all, where did this idea come from?
I've just wanted to see a movie set in Korean culture since I began my career over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just naturally just landed on Korean demons. And that kind of led to a demon hunter girl group that I thought could be really fun to see. And the K-pop of it all was actually the last ingredient folded in.
Really?
Because, you know, demon hunting is usually done privately, like secretly.
Yeah.
And it just felt like the concept needed another element. And so, you know, K-pop is another Korean element,
Yeah.
and it became a really good selling point for the movie, and automatically made it a musical,
Yeah.
and gave it the spectacle. So yeah, but it's known as a K-pop movie, but last thing.
The last thing is, so let's talk about one of the first things.
Yeah.
And I just want to show everybody the shot of here. Was this aesthetically how you imagined Huntrix, and especially Rumi? I mean, that look, that
Yeah.
braid is iconic.
Yeah, the braid, we really wanted to kind of, you know, play tribute to Korean aesthetic, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of braided hairstyles that happen in traditional Korean looks. So,
But this is how you imagined them.
yes, yeah. There was a lot of development that happened. You know, you don't just find a character immediately.
Yeah.
You go through a bunch of different versions and iterations, but yeah, we're very happy with where it landed, yeah.
And we're very happy that you've landed here. And we can tell everybody a bit about your personal story. You moved to Canada from Korea when you were young, just 5. And you know, you talk about K-pop being the last element added, but you've been a K-pop fan for a really long time. And I
Yes.
understand you used to hide your love of K-pop because other
did.
kids thought it was weird.
Yes.
Now it is a global phenomenon.
Yes.
How does it feel to have created that from your own love of something?
Well, I'd like to tell everybody who doubted K-pop that, look, I told you so. Yeah, it was. It feels like it's come full circle for
Yeah.
me, and you know, just to watch Korean culture just thrive and become this, like, I don't know, something that everybody just wants to learn more about
Yeah.
is just really amazing to see as a Korean person.
Okay, people want to hear this and they're at home. They're like, play the music. So we have some of the music to play. I mean, this is just a sample of the incredible soundtrack. I was singing this out loud in my car this morning on the drive-in. You know, it's one thing to have songs making history on the Billboard charts. 8 songs in the top 100 is pretty phenomenal. 4 of them charting in the top 10. That's never happened in Billboard's history. How does
Apparently
that feel?
not. It's very surreal. Yeah. And when we were making the movie and making the songs, we had always talked about, you know, having songs that were good enough to be able to compete with all the pop songs out there. Like,
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, I don't think I ever really realized that they could do this and be on the charts and almost the entire album. So it's wild.
Can you hit all the notes in these songs?
Oh,
May?
no.
No, okay.
I think if I did, I would have a different career back.
Before I let you go, I have to ask you, is there a sequel in the works?
It's the question of the moment. There's no official word yet, but I think we all feel that there's more stories that we can tell and more ways that we can expand the universe. So, and I think that the fans are just demanding it at this point. So
So more than a maybe?
I think so. so. Nothing official yet, but yeah, I think it's okay to hope.
Yeah, well, given the success, they would be crazy not to do it.
I think so.
Maggie, I know that you've got family out in BC. Is there anyone you want to say hi to this morning before we let you go?
Oh my gosh, so many people. My classmates from Sheridan College, some of them I'm going to meet hopefully today, and yeah, just a lot of friends and mom and dad. Hi.
Thank you for bringing your creativity, your love of K-pop, and your love of Korean culture to the world on such a massive scale. You have created a film that people don't only love, but they are obsessed with.
Oh.
Thanks, Maggie. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Two-time Olympian, gold medalist, 6 national titles, 2 world championships, 17 Grand Slam victories.
Well, we are talking, of course, about curling royalty, Jennifer Jones.
And then to add on top of that resume, she's also a lawyer and now an author. And she sat down with Teddy to share some stories about her life on and off the ice.
I love curling. I was telling you right before we rolled, I'm terrible at it, but I've been watching you for years, and I want to get into the stories in the book. And you go from starting off as a kid curling in Winnipeg to all of your incredible victories, and then becoming a lawyer, a mom, everything in life. I imagine that for an elite athlete, when you're in the throes of competition, looking back and focusing on the past can be a bit of a double-edged sword. But obviously for writing a memoir, it's key. So what was it like for you to go back and revisit your life and your curling career so far?
I think it was super therapeutic. I did it right after I retired, and I was a little bit sad after I retired giving up curling, so I was able to go back and relive those memories. I would ask my teammates who had better memories than me just some of the stories and the things, and it just allowed me to realize in the moment you don't think about records you set, or you don't think about the championships you won or the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations. You're just in it.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to go back and go over it and realize, wow, there was a lot there. I mean, I had a really long career, and it changed my life.
And I imagine folks look at you and, see you, and because of all of your accomplishments in curling, but also in life and all the success you've had, they would look at you and they'd say, oh, confidence personified. But you write in the book how you've struggled with confidence, or you used to a little bit, and that it was your sports psychologist, Cal, you talk about him in the book, who gave you a mantra that kind of helped you cope with this. Can you tell us what that mantra is and why it worked so well for you?
Yeah, he would say, why not you? And for me, I always used to say, why me? Why would something good happen to me? I'm just Jennifer, like I'm nothing special. And he's like, but why not you? Why not any one of us? If you set your mind to do something, you can do anything. And confidence is something that I've struggled with forever. I just think I'm just Jen from Winnipeg who loved curling, and Cal gave me the ability to really think that anything was possible, to dream big, but to also just put everything you have into something, and if it doesn't happen, you'll have no regrets because you really tried to put everything into it. So I do that with my daughters. I'm like, why not you? Why can't you achieve greatness? And they go out there in their gymnastics, and I see their nerves calm, and they're doing these things that I could never do, and I just, I think it's really allowed us as a family to have a different perspective and really just try to dream big.
How does that make you feel when they channel that mantra into their own personal successes?
I'm blown away by it.
Yeah?
I just look, and they don't look nervous.
Yeah.
And that's just this special quality that it's really hard to have. They're not scared to lose. They're not scared to miss or make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that's come from watching curling, us talking about being in those big spotlight moments and just really trying to soak it all up and enjoy life. And I know as a mom, all I want is for our kids to be happy and chase their dreams, and I can see them doing it. And I really do. I think a lot of it was from watching me and my husband Brent compete.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, they say it's like the curling shot heard around the world. 2005 Tournament of Hearts. Many analysts call it the best ever shot in curling. I think we might have a bit of footage of it. I rewatched the whole thing this morning with sound and with the celebration after it. It is a remarkable shot, and you say that folks still ask you about it. Why do you think that in particular? You've had this long, august career, but why does that moment stick with folks so much?
I think it's talked about all the time. It's always on the greatest shot to win a curling game of all time. So it's in the media, but it was just a big emotional moment, and it was really what kickstarted our career. It was my first championship, and it was really the beginning of our Jennifer Jones teams, and through the years, our first win, and we celebrated in a way that hadn't been seen. Like, we were just jumping around like crazy people, and so. The whole chapter in the book is dedicated to the shot, how I was feeling, what I was thinking, and because it's just such a big moment in curling history.
It's an incredible moment, and in history writ large, too.
This September marks the 45th anniversary of Terry Fox's iconic Marathon of Hope. He started this run as one man on a mission to raise money for cancer research. And when he was forced to stop, he asked Canadians to follow in his footsteps, and boy, did we ever. In the 4 decades since that first step, millions of Canadians have joined in, putting their best foot forward, trying to finish what Terry Fox started. Since 1980, the Terry Fox Run has raised more than $850 million for cancer research right here in this country. So joining us this morning to talk about his incredible legacy and how Canadians can take part this year is Kirsten Fox, Terry Fox's niece, and also joining us this morning is Leah March. She is a cancer survivor and Terry Fox School ambassador. Great to have you both here.
Thank you.
Kirsten, I'm going to start with you. You never got to meet your uncle, but every year for the past 45 years, our entire country comes together in his name. What's it like for you getting to know him through the difference that he's made and continues to make in Canadians' lives?
Yeah. Growing up, I learned more about Terry as a normal person, as my dad's brother, as someone that was missing from family occasions, someone we lost too early to cancer. But in school, I learned about Terry Fox, this Canadian hero. And as I get older, I'm able to kind of blend the two people and understand that he was just a regular person. He was not unlike you or I, and he just set a goal. He wanted to change the world. He wanted to make the world a better place, and that's what he did.
Kirsten, can I ask you how you remember him as a family? Because we remember him as an icon, as Terry Fox, this symbol of like bravery and courage and strength. But when you talk about him as family, how does his name come up? What do people mention?
Yeah, I never got to meet him. He passed 6 weeks before my mom and dad were married.
Yeah.
So, I always heard about him as my dad's brother, and they were very close growing up. So, they played lots of sports. They did summer jobs together, all the fun things they did. He had a great sense of humor. He was stubborn. He was athletic. He loved sports. And, cancer changed him, though. Cancer was when he really started to change, and he understood that, the answer was to try and help others, is what he said. And that's when a change happened in him, and he decided to run across Canada to raise money.
Thank you for sharing those stories, because a lot of times, myself included, Leah, I was like your age when I remember learning about Terry Fox. And I love hearing the stories about who he was as an uncle and as a brother, and a reminder that he had summer jobs and loved to play sports. Leah, you are a cancer survivor, and you had the same type of cancer that Terry had. So you were 6 when you were diagnosed. How are you doing today?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can tell by the big smile on your face. You are also a Terry Fox ambassador at your school. What kinds of things do you get to do, aside from missing school, to do things like this?
Every single year I go, we have a gym.
Yep.
So I talk in front of them, a speech about Terry Fox and stuff. We watch some videos. And then after, a couple of days later, we do the run.
Yeah.
And I just tell them to try hard and just don't give up.
I bet you're very encouraging for them. What have you learned about Terry Fox that stood out to you? Anything special that comes to mind?
That he's really brave, that he went across whole Canada, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and you've probably seen pictures like this that we all have, that we all grew up watching. Kirsten, there's so much going on because this is the 45th anniversary this year. Can you give us a hint on some of the things planned? I know this one, that Adidas is re-releasing Terry's iconic shoes. I love that.
Yeah, there's so many exciting things with the 45th anniversary. There's the Confederation Bridge Run happening the week after the Terry Fox Run on September 21st. There's the re-release of the Orion shoes, our great merchandise as well with the Finish It branding. Just announced this morning as a re-release of Courage that we used in our Finish It film. It's the Tragically Hip reimagined song, and those are available now on our website. So terryfox.org is where you can find out about everything about this year's run, and stay tuned to our socials as well for any upcoming announcements.
So we're showing a little bit of that now, and it is so moving. It makes me teary every time I watch it. In terms of impact, Terry's initial goal was $1 raised for every Canadian. We are way past that. Outside of money, what do you think his true legacy is to this country?
Yeah, I think a lot about Uncle Terry's determination to help others. As I said, he was just a regular person who wanted to help other people, and that's really what he did, and we all can do that. A great way you can do that is by participating in the Terry Fox Run, and all that money raised is making an impact on those that we love that are diagnosed with cancer. Leah being an amazing example of that, a living proof that the research is working, and it's because of people across Canada who also believe in what Terry started, and we do invite you to participate, to donate, and be part of the Marathon of Hope.
Did you know gap years are not just for students?
Adults are hitting pause too to beat burnout, reset, and even rediscover their purpose.
We had a great conversation on the show, and Teddy joined in on the fun. Take a listen.
If someone asked me what is the best thing I did for myself and my mental health, it would be take a sabbatical. Some people call it unemployed, some people call it taking an adult gap year, but take a break from working. It'll change your life forever. I quit my job June of 2022, and I just started working January of this year. And when I tell you, everyone needs a break. Y'all have to understand, we have been doing this for a very, very long time. To pull back, your body is going to go through so much. You can do whatever you want with your sabbatical. The only thing I wanted to do really was rest. I did do a little bit of traveling. I spent a lot of time with family and friends, spent a lot of time with my son, just being home all the time. It was such a nice little break. Currently, I'm already making my plan for my sabbatical for 2027. So I'll tell you what's the secret to saving up the FU money to finally quit your job. Number one, I feel like becoming debt-free helped me. I was debt-free the first time. I'm going to be debt-free the second time thanks to bankruptcy. You can't pay off debt. It's not a big deal, but I will say pay up some of your bills. I paid up my phone bill for 2 years. I paid up my car insurance.
And that's the big thing, right? People will look at this and go, okay, wait.
You're going to have to be on a strict budget.
How would I afford to do this? Like, it would be nice and all that. Okay, so let's just throw that out there. Let's say money is no object. You've got the money to do it, and you're able to do it. Would you want to take a bit of a sabbatical, a gap year, and if so, what would you do?
Yeah.
This is like the lottery conversation,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So we're just going to dream. We're not going to talk about any responsibilities.
Dream
Just
big.
dreaming.
Yeah.
I think this is a really cool idea. I would love to take a chunk of time and travel because I didn't do that out of high school, and I'm really. I don't live with regret, but I do feel a bit of envy of my friends who did it then because it feels a little more complicated now, just because of a job and kids and life and all like these rules that I must follow. So it feels harder to do it now. I know I say it that way because I could just go do it, and I just haven't.
Would you do it by yourself, or you take the whole crew?
I think I would want the whole crew because like my life is so much better and more fulfilling with them there. That's why they're there. Because life is better with them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to escape them by any means. But
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool to do that. You see this term mini retirement a lot online, where people talk about this idea of taking a sabbatical year. And the common thread out of it is they're like, I learned what I liked.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I think
like
as
that.
an adult, we forget to have hobbies. We forget to pursue passion projects. And so maybe that's the chance to do it.
Travel-wise, where would you go? Like you've spoken on the show before about wanting to go to Norway, for example. Like, do you have a short list of places you'd want to hit?
No, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere is the short list.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I've always said I want to travel the textbook with the kids at some point, meaning I want
Travel
to
the text?
travel the textbook.
What does that
I
mean?
want to take a year with the family, and whatever they were going to be learning at a desk in Toronto, in their textbook, let's go.
I love that.
I know. I
That's
want to
rad.
travel the textbook. And so, and all age, I mean, it feels really complicated. Am I ready to be a teacher full time with the children in the homeschool? Like, we did that in COVID, and what?
Yeah. I hear it was hard.
But I feel like there's a way to do it, and I know friends that have done it. I love the idea of taking them and taking them to places and having different experiences and experiencing different cultures and taking them all around the world and do that and hit a textbook like every quarter, whatever it is. So I love the idea. I just like logistically.
No, but you can't talk yourself out of it before the dream even happens.
I'm not
true.
talking myself
Dream
out of it because I want to make it happen. We got to figure out the right timing to do that.
Yeah.
But travel the textbook, it is in the cards.
And you theme it around different things you want them to see. Oh, I think that's great.
And you get to travel quite a bit, which is awesome.
I'm lucky I've traveled a lot. If I was in a position to take an adult gap year, I'd go to 2 words, Antarctica. It's 1 word, I'm just kidding. I'd go there.
This is CTV Your Morning, the podcast, where we share some of the fantastic conversation we've been having on the show. Join us live on CTV every weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern and 7 to 10 a.m. Atlantic. on CTV, CTV News Channel, or the CTV News app.
AI is improving how doctors detect and treat diseases. A recent study by JAMA Network used AI to scan through mammograms, which helped identify women at a higher risk for breast cancer up to 6 years before a clinical diagnosis. Dr. Kwadwo Kiramanting is the head of ICU at the Ottawa Hospital. He's joining us in studio this morning. Great to have you in, Doctor.
Thanks for having me, Lindsay.
So let's talk about AI and how it's being used for early detection.
Yeah, so we just saw that incredible study about mammograms and being able to detect cancer early, and it's all about prevention from my perspective. Like, how can we catch diseases earlier so that it doesn't become a major problem or it doesn't land you in an ICU? And a small or an easy example to think about right now is, say you have a skin growth. Technology right now will allow you to take a picture of that skin growth and ask the AI, should I be seeing a doctor as a result? So earlier detection of skin cancer as an example, so that you can get that before it becomes a major problem.
I was wondering how exactly it was being used for early detection when it comes to, what do we know about like using AI for early detection for breast cancer, for example? How's it being used?
Yeah, and I think it's just that, as we saw, like that technology is so enhanced. It's allowing us to see cancers before it becomes a cancer. So seeing early signs that there are changes in the cells, changes in the skin, changes radiographically, so that now we can warn the patient to say, hey, maybe down the road we should be paying more attention to your mammogram.
I'm detecting enthusiasm about the use of this kind of technology for you.
I'm an enthusiast. I'm very much an enthusiast, because right now in healthcare we have gaps. We have huge gaps, and I see AI as a huge way of being able to address a lot of these needs.
AI is in treatment. It's making treatment a lot more personal. How?
Yeah, this is, to me, is really exciting. So a lot of studies that you'll see in the medical literature, they are at a population level. So if you take aspirin, you're most likely to benefit. Whereas it's not doing it at a personal level. So maybe if we both have high blood pressure, maybe one medication is going to be more beneficial for you than it is for me. And AI is allowing us to do that by looking through our genetic profile, by looking at our current lifestyles, at our wearable technology. So to be able to get that personalized care, to use a medication that you know is going to be more beneficial, to me is huge. And there's other aspects of it too that is exciting from a personal perspective. Like, you walk into a doctor's office in 2025, there's the scribe technology. So you put your phone down, they'll be able to record what's happening in terms of our interview.
Right.
And I'll be able to look at you in the eye and have that, instead of typing away at the computer, and I'll have my note written, and that saves me like 50% of my time. So
That's huge.
Exactly. So now I could spend more time focusing on my patient.
And also, to be honest, like I've been in doctors' offices where information is being given to me and I don't have somebody else in the room, and it's a lot of information, and I'm just like, I forget half of it when I leave. So to have that transcription is so important on both sides of the desk. You mentioned smartwatches and wearable tech. How is that really helping people?
To me, this is a big one. I don't know if you've ever worn a continuous glucose monitor. Have you ever tried that?
No.
It's one of the things that I mentioned in the book is everyone should try that once, because it shows you the foods that are more likely to spike your blood sugar, that will affect your energy. So getting that feedback, it's like, it's fuel. It's like when I saw that, if I have white rice compared to, say, an oatmeal cookie, my blood sugar spikes. So I'm more likely to avoid that. I'm more likely to maybe have a walk after I have a big meal because of the information I'm getting. So it's creating those healthier habits as nudges, so that we will create a healthier society. Because as you and I know, unfortunately, we're not the healthiest right now in terms of our metabolic status, with a lot of obesity, pre-diabetes right now. So anything, to me, that gives you that nudge to push you in the right direction is massive.
And helpful books like that. What's your book called?
It's Prevention Over Prescription. It's all about how we can make it easy for people to get healthy again.
Companies are now bringing the dead back online.
Just to be clear for everyone seeing this, I am a version of Chris Pelkey recreated through AI that uses my picture and my voice profile. I was able to be digitally regenerated to share with you today. But here is insight into who I actually was in real life.
It can be unsettling to watch. What you're looking at is known as a dead bot. It's an avatar of a deceased person that uses their voice and their physical likeness to create a lasting memorial that can sometimes be interacted with. And they are getting more convincing every year. So joining us this morning is James Hudson. He is the lead researcher of AI technologies at Lindenwood University. Welcome to Your Morning.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thanks for having me.
You know, it's a little, I said it, it's a little unsettling when you realize the image that you're watching online is somebody who is no longer with us physically here on Earth. And there are a lot of companies in the business of recreating digital afterlife, from Storyfile to Hereafter AI. What kind of dead bots have we already seen, and how are they being used?
Absolutely. So this is nothing new. We've actually seen dead bots, although I prefer AI agents or AI ghosts. We've seen them since 1981 with Charlie Chaplin being used in a commercial for IBM. Since then, we've seen numerous celebrities, Bruce Lee in 2013, for instance, in a Johnny Walker commercial receiving backlash. We also saw Tupac brought back in 2012 at Coachella. There's less backlash when it's within the context of when we would have seen a celebrity, and the more time that has passed, the less likely we are to react negatively. But now we're seeing more and more movement in the commercial sector, right? So now we're actually seeing them in, as you mentioned, Storyfile, and even the more bespoke ones like Eternus, which costs up to $15,000 to set up your original one. But they're becoming more and more common every day.
Yeah, it feels like, if anyone watches the show Black Mirror, it feels like an episode of that. You say the next frontier of digital afterlife is to find a way to monetize it. You mentioned some of these companies charge, 15 grand. How could this change the way and the role that dead bots play?
Absolutely. There are many marketing strategies that the companies are already using at this time. Everything from building it into retirement planning and estate planning when you have a loved one in a nursing home, for instance, so that you can talk to them in perpetuity. Others are going to target you in times of vulnerability, such as birthdays or anniversaries of deceased loved ones, and on holidays, right, to show you that they can, in fact, bring back and give you some grief, but at the same time, really pulling on your heartstrings and vulnerable periods. And so we have to be mindful of knowing that these are out there, knowing that you're being targeted, and what specifically you need to think about in protecting your estate rights and, of course, those of your family.
So there's the ethical debate, but let's talk legal. AI agents or dead bots in both Canada and the U.S. operate right now in this sort of legal gray area. In this country, the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act bars organizations from disclosing an individual's personal information without their knowledge or their consent for 20 years after their death. There's also this patchwork of provincial laws that have varying approaches to something like an AI agent or a dead bot. How does this affect their regulation?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, we're in an in-between a liminal period whereby we're waiting to see where things will fall and what becomes just commonplace. So think of social media today and how you freely share your information online, your whereabouts, what you did during the day, etc. And you can set different levels of privacy. But you're in control. But it took quite a while, over a decade or so, for people to learn how to do that. So it's going to be the same learning process starting off. And yes, we do have laws in place that protect one's image and the control of your digital kind of afterlife and imagery. However, these companies are not just going after those that they haven't already received permission for. They will create these bots and then present them to a grieving loved one, who then grants permission because they control the estate. And so this is the most common way that they are getting permission, just like the long string that you're going to read as far as the terms and conditions before clicking OK. That's part of it, is that you are granting us rights to use the digital images of this individual for this purpose.
After decades apart, a mother and daughter reunite under wild circumstances.
Yeah, so this short film, it's called Demons, and it explores the messy, funny side of family tension.
The film just premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival, so we sat down with the team behind it, director Kelly Fife Marshall and writer and actress Preeti Torrell.
So you guys met on the set of the show Brie and Mac Gets a Life. So Kelly, what inspired you to then go from there and start a project together?
I think we kind of formed a friendship. Like we just started talking over lunch, started talking between breaks, directing Preeti during scenes, and then we had a conversation. Actually, Preeti was shadowing me on Children and everything. And while she was shadowing me, she just told me about her story and this incredible show that she's been writing. And I was like, I want to be involved. Like, I want to be able to have that conversation on the screen.
Yeah. That's so cool. I always love hearing the background of how people get together in a work situation and create these incredible projects. Preeti, the tension between Mads and her mom is apparent right away, like from the very first scene as you guys sit down at the table. So how does this film explore the relationship between immigrant moms and millennial daughters?
I think what's not on screen is the relationship between immigrant moms and millennial daughters. And what we're trying to do is show that the trope of how we're presented on screen is actually not true. There's so much difficulty, complexity, tension, estrangement, all these taboo subjects that exist in so many different immigrant communities, and they're never shown on screen. And so I always wanted to play a character and write a story that was very true to my identity and experience growing up poor and broke in Toronto. And it's shown itself in Demons. And that relationship, that tension between mothers and daughters, it's either extreme on television, it's either best friends or it's enemies. And there's always a gray area in the middle. And that's where a lot of us exist. And I want a lot of broken moms and daughters to see themselves on screen. Yeah.
Your background, you've got a lot of stand-up comedy on your resume. And what's so interesting is obviously this is a serious topic, but there's so many moments that just make you laugh out loud. So how do you balance that, like the serious moment with also injecting humor? And why is that an important choice that you made?
It's just been my sense of humor since I was a kid. Again, I grew up in downtown Toronto in the 90s and the early aughts, navigating the streets, being a broke kid from a broken home. And the only way that I could make sense of it was through comedy. The only way that I could find levity in the situation was comedy. And so all of my stand-up, all of my writing, all of my performance is all dark, but it's under the guise of being light. And, you know, if your estranged mom comes home one day and says, hey, let's rob people, you're like, that's kind of awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Kelly, you've worked on a number of your own award-winning short films. So Demons, you're working with characters and a storyline that obviously extends so much farther than what we see in the 8 minutes. So how do you do that? How do you capture the full depth of a character and a relationship in such a short period of time?
I always say, like, the audience isn't dumb, so you just need to make sure that they can feel the body language and the tension, right? You need to leave some silence between the shots. You need to leave those moments where if we're just looking at each other, just our look alone says so much more than I can fit in with words. And so Preeti had an amazing script, and it was just about how do we create the tension, the levity, the comedy, and the body language of two people sitting across from each other. What do we learn when Preeti leans in? What do we learn when she pulls back? All of those moments. And that's just kind of how you have to do it in order to get it into that very small amount of time.
Have you had a chance to watch the film with people in your lives?
No,
your friends?
Yet.
You haven't yet?
Not yet. We'll see on the premiere day.
We'll see on premiere day,
Exactly.
So what is that like for you leading up when people haven't seen this in its entirety yet? What is that like?
It's so exciting because we get to show high quality television in the form of a short film to Canadian audiences. Like, we never get to explore this caliber in Canada, and so to be on screen in front of friends, family, and fans, it's incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I like being in the room and just hearing people go through the roller coaster, hearing the laughs, hearing the shocks, and all of that stuff is really great for you as a filmmaker, because so much of filmmaking, you're in this small room and you're experiencing it by yourself. So to feel it through the audience is one of my favorite parts.
The Ontario government is planning to transfer a large area of Wasaga Beach out of a provincial park. This proposal aims to amend the Provincial Parks and Conservation Reserves Act to allow the removal of 60 hectares of protected land. Officials say this move will help with the revitalization effort, but critics worry that it could set a precedent for future provincial park transfers. Tim Gray is the Executive Director of Environmental Defence, and he's joining us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So walk us through what the plan is right now.
Yeah, there's two parts to this, as you alluded to. One is to remove about 60 hectares of the beachfront in Wasaga Beach. So this is the dunes, the ecologically sensitive area, endangered species habitat, and the most visited park in Ontario. So that's part one. The other is to actually amend the Act itself, which protects all provincial parks. This is unnecessary to remove the land from Wasaga because there is a process outlined in the Act now. So we're very concerned that the intention is to make it easier to remove lands from all provincial parks and be able to do it in secret by cabinet or by the minister. So there's two aspects of this. One, the direct impacts on Wasaga, and secondly, the impact that's possible for all the rest of the parks in the province.
And just to be clear, when we say remove from sort of provincial park protection, it's being handed off to the town?
It is, and this is being done for a tourism development scheme that the town has been pursuing with a major developer. We have no opposition to the idea of revitalizing tourism infrastructure in Wasaga Beach, but it should not occur on the park. There is land owned by the town, there's private land that can be acquired. There's no need for these ecologically sensitive areas to be handed over to this tourism development project.
Because what are your biggest concerns with this removal?
Yeah, of course, it's the precedent and the fact that parks are meant to be protected for the people of Ontario forever. They have an ecological integrity mandate. But specifically here, these dunes along the shore of Georgian Bay are a barrier to storms, so they help protect the town. They have a species called the piping plover, which is a rare shorebird that's very endangered, which came back to Canada after being extirpated because of good management of beaches. It also has rare coastal dune habitat vegetation, which is only found around the Great Lakes and along the Atlantic Ocean. So very rare habitats, very sensitive, and the provincial parks have a mandate to protect these areas.
What is the town saying about what they plan to do?
The town is saying that they will continue to protect the beach, but it's interesting because in the past they have opposed the type of management that protects these values. And in addition, if they wanted to have these areas remain protected, then they could stay in the park where they have professional people with a legal mandate to continue to protect them. Interestingly, the town itself originally requested that these lands be put into the provincial park because of impacts on them and the inability to control use of the beaches in a way that the town saw fit. So it's interesting that now they want to reverse this.
Yeah, so take us back a little bit, because decades ago, was this land not taken away from people who owned it?
Actually, decades ago, back to the 1950s, the town actually requested the provincial government make these areas provincial parks. So there's a long history here of risk of overuse, risk of damage to these lands. Eventually, they became provincial parklands, and they should stay that way.
Instead of amending the Act, what alternatives could the Ford government take, in your opinion?
In the circumstances of wanting to remove land from a provincial park, the existing Act says that the minister must bring a report about the impacts of such a change to the legislature and have all MPPs vote on it. This ensures some level of transparency, an evaluation of the impacts, et cetera. So our concern is they're planning on changing that so they no longer have to do that and reducing the transparency, reducing accountability to the people of Ontario, and therefore threatening other parks like Algonquin, Killarney, Quetico, other high-value parks where developers would love to get their hands on the properties.
That's it for the podcast today.
Don't forget to download or hit subscribe to CTV Your Morning, the podcast, wherever you're listening to us right now.
And of course, you can join us live every weekday morning on CTV CTV News Channel or on your CTV News app. Start your morning with us.